What's going on, y'all? Thank you for checking in with Callie. Please like, subscribe if you haven't already. So, the Clippers, now the season's getting ready to start in about a week. You know, they got a preseason game tonight with the Kings. Kawhi looked good in the preseason. The Clippers look good overall in the preseason. Chris Paul looked pretty good, but it's just preseason. You know, it's hard to really predict a lot. And honestly, if they don't stay healthy, I don't see how this team could win a championship. Obviously, because, and when I say stay healthy, I mean pretty much all their pieces have to stay healthy, like almost every one. They can't miss one piece. They can't miss a John Collins. They can't miss a Chris Dunn. They can't miss a DJ, especially can't miss a Kawhi or somebody like that. But they can't really miss no piece. A Bradley Beal. Everybody has to be ready to go when playoffs start if they want to win a championship. If they're missing one piece out of all the pieces they have, whether veterans or not, the championship is going to be very, very difficult to achieve. Because when you look at the Clippers right now, the few days ago, one of the best preseason games I looked at was them versus Denver. And Denver looked like they could be a juggernaut too, because when you think about Valanciunas as a backup to Jokic, that's a hell of a backup to have, especially if they decide to play a two big man, game where they have both of them on the floor at the same time with an Aaron Gordon. That's an extra rebounder in Valanciunas. He's a decent passer, and he can step out and stretch the floor. So, I mean, between them two teams, I think them and the Clippers, so far from what I've seen from the preseason, they look like the two teams that would be able to challenge OKC the best. But to me, the Clippers can't miss no player. No player on the Clippers roster can get injured if they want to go forward and win a championship, because it's going to take all of those players they have to be healthy to possibly beat a team like Denver, because Denver got better too. So, and I think the Clippers could beat Denver. I think, I don't want to say it's a psychological thing, just because of, the bubble and all that type stuff. I just think that they have to just mentally outplay Denver mentally. They have to mentally outplay them. Like the Clippers go on the floor when they play them in the postseason, like they can beat them, but then they get too overconfident and they don't put the nail in the coffin, or they don't do what they're supposed to. Like when they were in the playoffs, the Clippers should have been up 2-0 in that series. They easily could have been, but they weren't, and they didn't. And you give away games, you're going to lose series. And that's the thing with the Clippers now. They have enough veterans on their team now where they should understand that giving away games is not an option, and you have to play every possession for what it's worth. And all the veterans they have now, the understanding should be there. So the only thing they need to be there for them on their side is health. And if they have that, well, then they can make some noise in the playoffs. They can make some noise in the Western Conference and shake some things up. I like their roster. Overall, if healthy, the balance they have is unreal. If you look at from top to bottom, from the bench all the way to the starting lineup, it's a pretty stacked team. And they got athleticism, they got wisdom, they got scorers, guys who can score. I mean, of course. So it's a pretty well balanced team. They just have to really gel together with time, and injuries can't be a factor. And I'm talking about during the season and the postseason. You can't just play with a bunch of talent and don't build that camaraderie and think you're going to go into the postseason and just win it. Because the Clippers have been in situations in the past where, just not only due to injuries, but because they didn't have the chemistry, you can tell the lack of chemistry held them back from, exceeding in the playoffs as well, along with injuries. So my point is, the Clippers have to stay healthy pretty much throughout the season. Now, we know Kawhi's going to take games off. We know some of them going to take games off, miss a game here and there, but can't nobody miss no substantial amount of time, like 2 months and up. It can't be nothing like that. Like you need injuries where somebody might be out a couple weeks, come back a few days, come back and try it again. Now, like I said, we know Kawhi's not going to play every single game. Of course, he's not due to play back-to-backs, I think. But, I mean, at least if he's healthy enough to be there and don't miss significant time throughout the season, that's really what hurts the Clippers a lot. He can miss 2-3 games here and there, a week of basketball here and there. But if he misses 2-3 months of basketball, the chemistry is not going to be there with him on the floor with everybody else. It's almost like when that happens and when Kawhi comes back from injuries, he's like he's playing by himself on an island, isolation basketball, and everybody else is just standing around watching them and trying to figure out where they fit in at. And that's not going to help the Clippers win a championship. So this year, if there's going to be any change, that's going to have to be the biggest change. Like, everybody's going to have to be readily available, all the time. It can't be a lot of time missed and come back and try to figure it out. And, that's not going to work. So I hope the Clippers stay healthy. I like them playing. Honestly, I like them and Denver in the Western Conference Finals. In the conference finals. I like them and Denver in the conference finals. I think one of them can actually knock off OKC. I really do, if healthy. Because both teams would take OKC to 7 games easily. I know that. Denver took them to 7 games, I think last year. And the Clippers took Denver to 7 games. So I know the Clippers are capable of taking OKC to 7 games and winning the series just as well as Denver can. So that's the reason why I'm picking the Clippers versus Denver in the conference finals. We'll see what happens. But so far, like I said, what I see in the preseason, I'm very encouraged by what I see from Kawhi being out there, trying to get his legs on him. The first time he's been healthy in a while, like going into training camp and in the season, it doesn't happen that often for him. So, that's actually a good thing. And there's a lot of question about whether he could lead this team to a championship. But, of course he can if he's healthy and the team gets the right amount of chemistry. Of course he can. He's still good enough to do that. His game is top notch. He's a top 5 player in the league to me when healthy because he can do things. He has superpowers other players don't have. Other players can't play both sides of the floor the way he can. And he still can play both sides of the floor. And he's still a lethal scorer. His jump shot is automatic. And it's just hard to really deal with him in a 7-game series because he can have games like he had against Denver, the game where he literally just took over, the game 2. Not many players can literally just put a team on their back and take over like that and will them to victory. It's not many players who can do that. Kawhi has done it throughout a playoff run and won a championship before. So we know what his capabilities of. His superstar status is never to be questioned in my eyes because of when he's healthy, we know how great he is. But these other guys are going to have to follow along. They all going to have to pitch in and they all going to have to stay healthy enough to trust him as the leader and for him to trust them as his teammates to count on them when they need to be counted on in big moments. And only Ty Lue can give them the right messages every night. So hopefully Ty Lue is going to do that. Hopefully he's going to not shake the lineups too much and kind of give the lineup some consistency of who's starting, who's coming off the bench and the rotations and all that. Give it some consistency throughout the season. And I think guys will get better in their position and get stronger and know what their attack is, know what their game plan is before they step on the floor. Because that's always been the problem with the Clippers to me. They look like it was all isolation between him and Paul George back in the day, and everybody else is just standing around not really knowing what they're supposed to do. So this go round, they're trying to win. They got to be concise when they get on the floor. And the only way to be concise is know your starting lineups, know who's in the rotation, not doing too much experimenting, stick with the same lineups for a while, and only make tweaks here and there based upon, maybe who's on the bench, who's actually playing a little bit better and provide more productivity. But the starting lineup, leave the starting lineup the way it is, only unless due to injury. If Ty Lue sticks to that type of process, I feel like it'll better the team. I feel like everybody know their role, know what they're actually trying to do before they go into games, and it'll be hard to beat them because a great player is going to be great, but the players under him or under them follow him because they need that. They need to have him not only show them what's the mindset you need to have to go into games and win, but you also need to be available and you need to be there and be accountable. And so does everybody else. And the only way everybody going to be accountable is if they get comfortable in their own skin in a position that they can rock with, that they like. And Ty Lue lets them flourish there and keep building off what he has rather than switching things up and being too experimental as he's been in the past. So that, along with health, is wealth for the Clippers. They can do wonders. They can do a lot of great things. But let's just see what happens. And leave any comments in the comment section as always. And we'll talk about it.